Hello, everybody. Welcome back to not another Isekai. I'm Tyler, and getting good in the the season of anime. We're continuing on much of the season. I mean, the season right now pretty much in full swing, right? Everything is airing for the most part. Because this episode goes up on the 17th, so we're already deep into April, and pretty much everything is caused has came out with a episode one. There's a few shows today that we're gonna be talking about that finally aired, right? Had their first episode, and this is pretty much what the season is looking like. At least right here, right here. This is what the season's looking like. So we will see. Right now, though, pretty crazy, pretty crazy season. I think I did I mention this before. This season is super stacked. I feel like every season, like every season of anime now is stacked. Like I feel like it's rare for me to look at a season and be like, "Yeah, that was kind of weak." I feel like that doesn't really happen anymore. Um, I don't know. Let's start talking about this season though. So we have the one kind of continuing show, right? We got Vinland Saga season 2, episode 14. Um, not a whole lot happened this episode. It was mostly just learning a lot about Arnheid and the relationship with her and Gardar, their kind of past and history, and you know, I guess that's probably going to set up some stuff for the rest of the season. I feel like it's a little bit of a detour from where we are. I feel like we're building up, we're picking up steam with the whole Canute and that whole war side of stuff, with Kettle and all that good stuff. So, not that I didn't like the episode, but I feel like it's just like another cog in the machine that it's like, okay, I'm sure this will have some like crazy big ramifications, because at the end we see that she's pregnant, right? And that's gotta clearly be with Kettle, right? I imagine. Is that the whole point? Because like, that's something too, where like she was talking about how like, oh, he's been wanting this forever. Um, it can't be Gardar's kid though, because like how long have they been here? Oh, they've been here for a while, right? Because oh yeah, they've been here for years, right? Because they were here shortly after um, Einar and Thorfinn got here, and Einar and Thorfinn have been here for a few years, like 3 years, right? A little over 3 years. So yeah, it's definitely Kettle's, but it's the thing too where I'm thinking like Kettle really wants another kid, because I mean like he doesn't. Well, well, I guess the two kids he has, there are reasons for him to not be like super in love with them, and of course there's kids, right? Like it's your kids, but like the one kid is like a monster, and the other kid kind of sucks, So maybe he does want maybe he's been wanting a daughter, Even though I feel like back in those times and like this kind of societal structure, you always want a boy, right? So they can be your heir. And maybe he doesn't really like the idea of either of his two current children being his heirs. I don't know. But yeah, that is huge, obviously. Um, and they tell a little bit about the past, where it's like Gardar convinced her that they need the iron because of if the people get stronger, then they'll take us over, whatever. Right? It'll be a bad time. Um, and then they left. All the guys left, and then their place got raided, pillaged, while all the men weren't there, and so they got stolen and kidnapped, and terrible things happened to all the women and children, and that's kind of where they are now. Um, but yeah, not really too much other than that. That's mainly all the. I mean, they have Gardar. I'm sure they're gonna interrogate him, all that good stuff. But even that, it's like interrogate him for what? Like we know what happened. It's like I don't really know. Also, like I don't really know his goal. Like Gardar's goal, like is he just gonna run free? Like I don't know. That's you know, I feel like a lot of people like that like want to be free, but then they don't know what to do with themselves. Which is a perfect example is Einar and Thorfinn, right? Where they're like, oh, I can't wait to be free, and it's like, all right, you're free tomorrow, and they're like, what do we do with our lives? How do we re-enter society? because they were both part of a village and they both had their roles, right? And so now it's like, well, do we just come up on a village and just it's tough. It's tough. So yeah, that was mainly the episode though. Mainly just the Arnheid stuff, and the fact that she's pregnant at the end. So, like I said, I imagine maybe, I mean, soon we're waiting for Kedward to come back, his people, and then obviously Canute to invade. Invade might be the wrong word, but they're coming. They will be here. So, yeah, pretty good episode. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite though. It was cool to see the Arnheid stuff. Cool that they don't like forget about her character. Um, and I'm sure that this will be huge, right? I'm sure her being pregnant with Kettle's kid. I'm sure that'll be a pretty big deal. Next, we got Hell's Paradise episode 3. This show is rocking and rolling. Like this is incredible. Um, they're at paradise, and kind of the biggest thing here is that the island is here. Stuff has popped off. We had Gabimaru take that one dude out, had every weapon in his arsenal right in his chest. That dude was taken out, and pretty much with the one dude, I don't remember what his name was, but he was one of the other like sword masters. He was talking about how like within the hour, everything will change, and then we see a huge this montage of a bunch of criminals dying, even some like sword masters dying, swordsmen dying, um, and then that doesn't even have to do necessarily with the island itself. That's just people killing each other, trying to get the upper hand. Um, it's strange though, because it's like, I don't know. I don't understand the point of killing the swordsman. I feel like it's like you're on an island. I don't know. I guess there's boats, but the boat's probably left. And I'm sure you don't really know how you got here. So, um, but even the one guy was like, "There's gonna be one left. It's probably gonna be Gabimaru, right?" But even then, is everyone gonna die? Like, I don't know. That seems strange. I would like to see more like interactions with the different criminals happen, because even then, like 10 came in, but we just saw a montage where at least a few of them died. So I don't know. Then we did have that fight with Gabimaru and Sagiri where both of them were hesitating. They were both holding back. Both of them kind of had their reasons for not being able to kill the other one. Just Sagiri, in her own right, she doesn't really have the heart to kill, really. I mean, she did kill a few people last episode, but um, I feel like both of them kind of have their emotions, their hearts kind of get in the way. Where ideally, both of their professions, you're supposed to be cold. You're supposed to lock that away, right? Um, but then even like I said, on Gabimaru's side, it's like, with his relationship with his wife and like her ideals and how she sees him. It's like, oh man, you really, it's okay not to kill. That's kind of his whole thing. Where he's like, I'm hollow, and she's like, but you're not though. You have feelings, and I've proved them to you. I've proved that to you multiple times. Um, so, but it does seem like they are going to kind of work together. They're kind of going to have like a truce. Gabimaru was afraid that the Iwagakure are going to arrive, and I don't really know who they are. Maybe I just missed it, but they're a problem, I guess, where they're gonna come in and maybe just like take out all the criminals. Like they're not with this whole program, so that's gonna be a problem because he has to find the elixir of life to get pardoned to go back to his wife. Um, so, but yeah, that's pretty much the whole episode there as well. They're just gonna run through, have a short scuffle, then all the different swordsmen and criminals have scuffles, we see some of them die. We see the island, and then it ends with a bunch of like different creatures, some crazy creatures on the island, probably here to just be like invaders, take them out. So I feel like this was some really nice setup. What I think the whole rest of the show is going to be. Again, it is the third episode, so it's like, all right, we're in it now. Our feet are planted, and so I think now we're going to see more and more of like, hopefully, probably some collusion between the people who are still alive. But I think that they're going to come to understand that while they definitely have to be wary of each other, that the island is the biggest enemy, and like they're gonna need to put like all their wits together and have all their focus on the island just to survive rather than trying to outsmart each other. Um, and also, like, just another question: is it a race? Like the first person to get the elixir gets pardoned? Is that how that works? I don't know. But yeah, some good stuff. I'm enjoying it. Next we got Konosuba, an explosion on this wonderful world, episode 2. Yeah, this one was just like so two main focuses in this one was the cat that Megumin has now and the professors, I guess. So I just it's just so like I almost forget that I'm watching Konosuba because like in another show this would be absurd, and it still is absurd, but like you almost have to remind yourself that, oh right, this is Konosuba, right? It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be like it doesn't make like there's weird oddities, So like one of my favorite parts of the episode was when they were all fighting the different like gargoyle creatures, right? And then all the professors kind of came in and was like, all right, we're gonna save the day, right? And then they were all just like using their magic going crazy, but then they were like, again, like they're super into like showing off like the showmanship of it all, the performance of it all is very important to Crimson Demons. And so like it's so weird, like them just keep looking over their shoulder to make sure that all the students are watching them and like in awe of their power and their skills. And then it even goes too far when they get carried away and they start destroying things that they don't need to destroy. Right? They start destroying like little shops and the big tower and all that stuff. It's just like it's so weird because like it's just so strange. Like what are we doing, But I do really like that moment though, because while it is very Konosuba, while it is very weird and just like off the wall, just like you guys are not here to save people, you guys are here to show off, right? I like it because of the effect that it has on Megumin, where she's like, this is incredible, but this is not what I want. And then she has her flashback to the explosion magic and she's like, that is what I want. And that is kind of weird too, because she starts talking about like, the like smell of burning earth or something like that's like, she likes that. But in another sense, she's like, she knows what she wants and she knows what her future holds. She knows what she wants her destiny to be or whatever. And so while it is very weird, I do like that we have those nice little character moments that's like, oh no, like, this isn't just goofs. We are seeing Megumin grow up and try to become the the Crimson Demon that that we all know and love from the actual show. So that's a nice. Again, we also have the cat, which is nice. Komiko caught the cat and was gonna like eat it, and Megumin was like, maybe we don't eat this one. And it's like her familiar and whatever. So that was nice. I'm sure we'll see more of her. Is the cat in the regular show? I just don't remember seeing the cat at all. But I haven't seen the first second season in a while, so maybe we do see the cat. And then let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, it's just so funny how like their image is what's super important. Like they have that test to pick up the weapon, and Union points out that the weapons are hollow, and she loses points. But it's just like, I love that Union is like the one that's grounded in reality. Not that the other ones aren't, but she like super is, where she's always the one being like, this is weird. Like, even last episode, right, where they had the task of like um introducing themselves before a battle. And she just didn't know what to say, and she was like, this is weird, I feel weird. And like, she was even like almost chastised for it, where it's like, you're a crimson demon, this isn't supposed to be weird, this is supposed to be what you do. And then even in this one, like I said, like her pointing out like, these swords are hollow, like they're not real, like we don't need to summon some like otherworldly strength to wield them. And so I don't know, I just really like her character for that too. I mean, obviously I also like her rivalry with Megumin, right? Especially like an example of that is right in the beginning, right, where Megumin knows her, and she like challenges her to like stabbing between her fingers, right, like that stupid thing that people do. And Union is like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And she admits defeat, and she talks about like giving Megumin her lunch, and she actually said that way too loud. So that was funny. But yeah, again, I do like her character kind of grounding in reality, and is like almost having the viewpoint of the audience, where it's like we're watching it too, and we're like, why have we not, like, so far 2 episodes, right? Why have we not seen them practice magic? They've not shown us any magic with these students yet. But we sure know how to, you know, like, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but just like, like the whole performance of it, like that's what we're learning. We haven't really learned anything yet. We're just, we're just learning how to look the part, you know. So like fake it till you make it thing, but it's like, no, this is like a real school that teaches real magic though. Like we are actually going to learn this. We're not all just like fake magic users. So I don't know. But yeah, great show. Again, the comedy is still there. I'm super all in. Again, I don't really know what's happening next episode. Hopefully we start learning some real magic. That'd be nice. So next, Dr. Stone, New World, episode 2. The big thing that happened this episode was them reviving Francois, and they're just all losing their minds over the bread. They have a real chef now, and I love that. I think that is really what the show is, right? I think I mentioned it last episode, where it's like, it is just not necessarily every episode, but you always get excited when they start to revive somebody else. It's like, ooh, what's their specialty gonna be, right? And they really leaned heavily into the almost like video game aspect of it, where it's like, you've acquired this, or you've learned this new skill, like you do in a video game. And I think that was the right move to kind of lean into that, and it's literally like acquiring people to your party, right? And so they have Francois now. They got food. They're never really gonna have to worry about eating some like rank food ever again. So that's really cool. And then we also have the craftsman going crazy, right? He built like a car. It's a Steam Gorilla 2. They got all their clothes, right? Like he's going nuts. He's one of my favorite characters. He's just this like little old man, but he gets like super into. He's also like really jacked, but he also gets like super into like building stuff. Like that's just his passion, right? So him coming through, and like even Senku calling him and being like, can you come over here? And it's like, and then Taiju's like, I'll carry him, and the craftsman being like, not necessary. And he's like, do you know how bored I've been with me being over here and you being over there, Senku, and like you not giving me anything to do? And just it cuts, and he's driving the crazy car, and it's like, oof, this guy's dangerous. In a good way, but he's still dangerous. He's a very dangerous mind. And then we have Journalass, which is what they call her. They built a camera for it, right? And in exchange for that, the little hoard of revival juice that she was keeping, built the camera for her, and that was really touching too, because it wasn't only just like an exchange. It was on 2 fronts. It was very touching because she's a reporter, and so she kind of takes her back to when she was a kid, getting a camera, finding her passion, right? So that's nice. which is also like a good thing about Senku and his people, right? Is they really care about their people, you know. It's not like other groups that they may have come across before where they're just trying to survive and they're just trying to like take over, I guess. Where they are like, no, everyone here matters, right? We take everyone's feelings into consideration, everyone's ambitions, right? Everyone's skills. And then the other thing is them going to be documenting the rebuilding of the civilization, right? They're going to take pictures of everything, all the different processes they're going through, all the different people that were here that were the pioneers, and they really want to focus on Senku because he's literally the brains of everything. Like if he wasn't here, none of this would have happened. You know, let's just say no one got revived. It's like, they still have the people, right? Like, you know, those people that were the descendants of people who didn't get hit with the petrification, right? Those people would still exist. Maybe other people would get revived as well, just out of sheer luck, right? Just sheer probability of the universe, right? But I don't know that anyone would have like the mind that he has to really advance civilization. Um, Definitely not as quickly. Definitely not as quickly as he's doing it. So that's cool. You know, again, just another nice little episode. You know, this is classic Doctor Stone. Revive someone, get a few upgrades, get a few, unlock a few more paths on the skill tree. you know, and yeah, it's great. I love, it's a good show. Next, we got Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You, Season 2, Episode 2. Um, this one was great. It was really focusing on, we had some new Yanagi stuff. New Yanagi. I don't know if you've seen her before. I don't think so, right? Because she was like, oh my gosh, you're married. Um, and then we had some Ginga stuff, and then we had some cat stuff. That was like the 3 points of the episode. So the Yanagi stuff was cool. We didn't really focus on her character too much, but I think the big takeaway from that was the effect that Nasa and Tsukasa have on people, where it's like their, just the way they live their lives and their relationship and how, just like their outlook on, I guess love, but also just like life, you know, I think affects people in a very positive way. And so it did with Yanagi too, right? Where, really, the main change was at the very beginning of the episode. We see her being like, kind of rejecting the one dude of like wanting to go to the amusement park with him. Maybe mostly because she just likes to play it safe. She doesn't really like go outside of her comfort zone and her bubble and whatever. And then by the end of it, seeing how Nasa and Tsukasa live their life and how much they love, even like what Nasa said about like, you want to like live your life, taking risks is fine. Um, and so Yanagi calls up that guy and is like, hey, you still, offer still on the table. We want to go to the amusement park, It's like, yeah, let's do it. So, that was a nice moment there. And then with Ginga, it was very funny because he comes up, looking like some like, what's it called? Yazuka, right? Yazuka, right? Isn't that like the, like the big like gang organization is in Japan? Am I misreading? Am I just an idiot? What is it? Yakuza. That's what it was. I was flipping the two syllables. Yakuza. I was like, yeah, Yazuka does not sound right. Yakuza. Going over Yakuza, like, and I love that Tsukasa just like stands her ground. She doesn't give up any information. She's like, no, you're not gonna do this. You're not gonna come in here and try to throw your weight around to some punk, And then she even forces him to be like, this is a spa, it's a bathhouse. If you're gonna be here, you're gonna partake in our services, or you're gonna leave. And they have like a shouting match where he's like ordering stuff, So that was cool. Um, and then we find out that it's Nasa's cousin, and we have a whole thing here. But basically bleeds into them getting the cat, and I love the cat because the cat does not like Nasa very much. But loves Tsukasa, right? Like the only time that the cat goes to Nasa is to feed him. We have that perfect scene in the episode where he like wakes Nasa up and it's like, okay, cool, maybe he's coming around, right? And then he feeds him, and he's like, all right, cool, peace. He leaves and then immediately curls up next to Tsukasa, and Nasa's like, I feel like something's going on here. I feel like there is some favoritism happening with this cat. I'm the one who feeds him. What's going on there? So that was cool. And then him toast. That was very cute too. So, yeah, that was pretty much the episode there. Again, I really like the show too because it is just like, just like a series of funny moments, with their relationship, right? So we had the whole Yanagi stuff, the Ginga stuff, and now the cat. So, and then we even have Ginga was like, "Oh, you're married? That's just crazy. You two should prove it and kiss, or else I'm not gonna believe it." And they almost do it, and then Ginga's like, "Nah, you don't have to do it. I believe you." And then you have Kanami over here that's like super sad because she wanted to see it. It's just like, "What do you? Get out of here! Get out of here, you! What are you doing?" So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, great show too. Again, I just love watching their relationship. There's no real like, it's definitely one of those more like slice of life shows. So there's no real like overarching story necessarily. It's just more so you just see Tsukasa and Nasa getting into some wacky things because of their love for each other, I guess. So it's good stuff. Next we got MASHLE, Magic and Muscles episode 2. Yeah, this one was the introduction to the school, and yeah, just basically some showing us what we thought was pretty much going to happen, which was Mash just going through everything with just his pure athletic, physical abilities. So we had him like lifting up the rock, we had him running on water, we had him punching the Sphinx, punching through the maze, all that stuff. Which was very funny, obviously. But then like he like broke the professor's wand, and then he had like some weird like interview interrogation thing with the headmaster, and he answers them all in a way you really shouldn't answer them, but in the only way that Mash knows how to answer all the questions of like very blunt, very direct, and then he even ends it with being like, if I had to face the headmaster, what would I do? I would knock the stuffing out of the headmaster. And all the other like, staff are like, oh, my word, and the headmaster just kind of smiles and is like, this guy over here knows this guy's interesting. I have to keep an eye on him. Yeah, and then we do learn a little bit about how to become the divine visionary, which is something I think was probably a question from last episode. It's like, okay, are they just picked? Are they like picked by someone or like a committee? Is it just like the number one student in the in the class? Is there some kind of like some like trial system, competition type thing? But we learned that it's all based on like a coin system. There's different types of coins like gold, silver, bronze, whatever. They're all earned for various things like classwork, but also like I think like extracurriculars as well. And so yeah, so there's like a coin system, right? So that was cool to kind of set that up and like have those rules set for us, right? And then Finn, his roommate, is very wary of Mash. He kind of sees that like Mash isn't like some, he's not really like a troublemaker. He doesn't seem like the stereotypical troublemaker, but he does do things in a weird way. So like he is like a lot more normal than Finn first imagined without actually meeting him, but he's still kind of weird. He's still kind of like an odd dude. So yeah. That's basically this episode. We see, like I said, just Mash burning through everything and pretty much setting up what the show is going to be. As I'm sure he's just going to keep doing that, just keep using his physical abilities to go about his classwork and his tests and all that good stuff in a way that this this school has never seen. This fine institution has never seen. So yeah, I will say that this is the one show probably that's on the list right now that we're watching that I'm not like super into. I'm afraid, and this isn't a bad thing, but I'm afraid that this is going to be one of those shows that just kind of is just the same joke over and over again, you know? Like, which is fine, you know, like I said, it's fine. I've seen shows like that before that are just kind of the same joke over and over and over again, and you know, they can be good, but I don't know that if that's the case, that that's going to be a show that I feel like we absolutely need to watch and cover every week. It's just like, oh, well, just the same sort of stuff happens every episode. You know, it's funny, you know, and there might be some heart injected into it every so often, but you know, I just don't know that it's like one that like one that has a story that grips you, because even like, you know, again, it's not the fact that it's comedic, because we even just talked about Konosuba, you know, but like that one I feel like isn't the same thing over and over again, you know, just with the different characters and the way it's set up, and you know you know the way they are still advancing the story, you know, even though there are some things that we haven't seen that I'd like to see in Konosuba. I feel like MASHLE is like the perfect show to be like, oh yeah, we're just every episode is going to be him, you know, doing stuff in a very unorthodox way, and then somehow still getting closer and closer to becoming the divine visionary. Which again, not saying that makes it a bad show, but I don't think that's going to be a show that we absolutely need to cover every week. So again, I don't want to talk. I don't want it to sound like I'm too negative on it, you know. But we are gonna. I'm probably gonna give it next week. And if episode 3 doesn't, you know, if episode 3 doesn't distinguish itself from what I think it's going to be here on out, probably not going to continue it. So just a heads up there. Next, we got My Love Story with YAMADA-KUN at level 999, episode 2. Yeah, this this is great. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Because we have these characters that are just like total opposites of each other. They're totally dysfunctional on paper, but you can tell. You can start to tell the little bit of love tendrils, you know, that are they're kind of creeping into their relationship, right? Um, I mean, again, you know, even at the very end, where you know she and Momo drunkenly return the umbrella, and you can tell that Yamada is annoyed by having to deal with this. Um, you know, you can tell that what Akane says to him, you know, kind of hits him. Because it's real. You know, because Akane is like, hey, you know, I just want to thank you for that day when you were here, because, you know, if you weren't at the event and I was all alone, it would have been a lot worse for me, you know. And so that does hit him, and you know, it does make him realize that, oh wow, you know, she, maybe like, oh, she does really care, you know, or you know, there's something there, or just the fact that she said that to me, I'm realizing that I care how she felt about that, you know, like I'm starting to have feelings, you know, and she's not just some stranger to me, right? Um, Not necessarily that he's like, oh, I love her, you know, I'm not saying it's there yet, but you know, again, even at the very end, he's like, you know, he stops her. You know, he could very have easily just walked back in his home and went to bed, but he kind of stops her one last time and is like, hey, you know, Rory, you know, is kind of worried about you, you know, so maybe if you have time, you should hop back on, you know, and like that's kind of him being like, you know, again, I'm sure Rory is, worried about Akane, because you know she seems like she cares about all of her guild members and all that stuff, you know, in real life as well, you know, but he what you can tell he wanted to say that to her, because you know a little bit of that worry and worry is his own worry as well. And he's like, hey, you know, I haven't, you know, because read between the lines, he's like, hey, you know, if you wanted to hop on, you know, you know, it'd be cool if we could play together again, you know what I'm saying? So that's nice, you know. I like that it ended that way, because it's like, yeah, you know, he does, you know, he does want to have some sort of relationship with her again. It is called My Love Story, so I'm sure it's gonna get romantic at some point, which is perfect. You'll love to see it, you know. But right now, I just like that it is mostly just on the like friendship front, where they are just trying to get to know each other, I guess, right? Um, so yeah. But then even other than that, I love that. she finally throws out the necklace, because like that was something with me with the whole episode where I was just like, why do you care so much? Like I get it. People have like heirlooms, or they have, things that are passed down from their family, or maybe gifts from family members or friends or whatever that they super care about and they want to keep and cherish for their whole lives, right? But you care so much about a necklace that your ex-boyfriend gave you. Like, it's not, you're not with this dude anymore. Why do you still have it? And like, also, like, he left you for someone else. Like, no, get rid of this. Like, again, like, you're never getting back together with this man. Like, there isn't any hope for that. Maybe it'd be different if he just left you and he was like, oh, I just need some time apart. No, he left you for somebody else. Like, they are now actively together. Like, why do you still, like, throw it out? So I'm glad but I am kind of upset that she threw out the umbrella. It's like, this is an umbrella. Like, this is a practical, this is something you can use. I mean, unless she has two umbrellas. Oh no, wait. She didn't throw out the umbrella. She returned it. Okay, I'm dumb. She was thinking about throwing it out though, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's all, I don't know. But yeah, I do like that she finally threw that out, because it may be a little bit symbolic of like, I'm over it, And then even the kind of heavy-handed, but with Momo being like, okay, there's only these two things left: the necklace and this umbrella, and it is almost her being like, you know, cutting off her past with Takuma, yeah, Takuma, and then maybe wanting to pursue Yamada. Again, I don't even know that I don't think we're at the point yet where either of them are like in love with the other person, but I do think both of them are kind of at the point where they are interested and they do want to spend more time with this other person, right? And that's a very exciting part to be at in a relationship. Um, and then yeah, I think other than that, the only other thing that was really cool in this episode was just showing more and more of how clueless Yamada is, like how Akane walked up on him clearly being confessed to, and Yamada just didn't even realize that that's what was happening. It's like, this guy, this guy's crazy, and then even how like kind of insensitive he was when he was talking about all this garbage in their in their inventory. And and then Rory's here. I love Rory. I really hope we keep seeing her character. It'd be nice to see even see her maybe like, or like IRL self. That'd be cool, right? But like even her trying to like mediate and be like, yeah, what are you doing? Like try to be more, because like he was even like, because he was like just like talking trash on all this garbage, all this low level garbage, and then like, and the Rory was like, hey man, maybe don't like, don't like talk too bad about it, because, someone probably, someone's heart was probably in the right place with keeping all this stuff, and, if they're online right now and they heard you, it might hurt their feelings. And then Yamada, or not Yamada, and then Akane immediately like, it was me. And then Rory just has like this look of horror, and she's like, oh no, oh no. I like Akane's reasoning behind it though, where where she's like, well, it's low level equipment, so like, if we got new members and they're new to the game, it might be nice for them to have this low level like starter gear to kind of help them get into the game. It makes a lot of sense. But I think I also see where Yamada's coming from, where it's like, well, we can't just keep having all this garbage. Like, we need room to put like good stuff in as well. So like, he has this line where he's like, be more selective, and I like that kind of carries through with her with the throwing out all the stuff, but then maybe also a little more more of like an emotional connection to that line. She takes it more to heart, and not just face value. So that's cool. Um, but yeah, great show. I love it. This is the kind of show that I love too, where there's some romance, slice of life, comedic elements. Great, fantastic. This is like on paper a perfect show for me. So can't wait to watch more of it. I hope that next episode we see them playing more, and hopefully we see them meeting up more. Maybe growing their relationship. So that's good. Next we got Skip and Loafer, episode 2. A lot of good stuff here. Shima and Iwakura are getting closer, and we're building up some more characters too. Yeah, and also some mysteries. This is a really good show too so far. This one I feel like has so much potential to be like one of the standouts of the season. Because like you got Demon Slayer, you got Doctor Stone, you got Konosuba, like all these sequels, right? I mean, even like even like Hell's Paradise, where it's like okay, that was a super, 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 super anticipated show. We got Skip and Loafer, which is just this this little slice of life type show. I think is gonna shock a lot of people. I hope. I hope. Um, One thing I did want to mention right off the top because it happened right at the beginning of the episode was is Iwakura's aunt trans? I didn't really catch that just because I was like I don't know. I guess maybe I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't see it. I guess I was just like whatever. But this episode there was other people kind of like kind of like whispering, kind of like towards her aunt, and kind of mentioned like, oh, is that a man? Is that a is that a guy? And then you see the aunt. I don't know her name. I didn't write her name down. But like you see her. I think she like grips the like pole a little tighter on the train, and then he kind of like cuts to her face, and she like smirks a little bit. And then Iwakura, I think just maybe she did it on purpose. Maybe she could hear them and whatever. Maybe she's just coincidence. But then she like asks her and like gets her attention again and continues their conversation they were having. But it's like, is that what it is? Is she trans? And is that gonna be like a story beat? Because I feel like maybe I'm completely misreading the scene, and I'm like connecting dots that are like so far apart from each other. They should not be being connected. But if that is the case, I hope they run with that. Like I hope that's not something they just kind of mention and then don't really do anything with, because like what's the point of mentioning it then? Like what, like, because that that could be some crazy emotional plot point that comes around a few episodes from now. I mean, especially with like how a lot of this show is dealing with Iwakura and like her having this life and like her having this game plan, but her also trying to figure out who she is, because she kind of has this plan, but she's not like super confident in herself, especially like socially. And I feel like as the show goes on, we're gonna talk about a couple different characters that kind of join the show. She's gonna have a lot of people around her, and kind of like she starts to see more perspective and how other people kind of live their lives, and how they there's a perspective, I guess. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the best word. So I feel like that could be conjoined with a great, maybe like heartfelt, some sort of, something to do with her aunt and like her life, right? Because I feel like they do keep bringing up the aunt. Like there's only 2 episodes, so we've seen her in episode 1 and episode 2, but I feel like this could be something there. Yeah. But other than that, I wrote down that me and my homies, we all hate Igashira, and me and my homies, we all love Murashige. Igashira is the red-haired girl, right? Who clearly is just trying to get closer to Iwakura, to get closer to Shima, right? And it's like, it sucks, man. Dude. We'll talk about it in a second, because that has a lot to do with Murashige, who comes up to Iwakura when they're at karaoke and is like, hey, doesn't it bother you? Like, she's clearly doing this for that, and Iwakura, being the socially inept person that she is like, I had no idea, I didn't even see that. But now that she mentions it, she starts to see it, and she's like, oh, yeah, that is happening. And then on top of that, Murashige is like, hey, if you want to leave, I can leave too. I didn't, my character's not really my thing anyway. So if you wanted to bounce, I can, I'll bounce with you. I'm perfectly okay with doing that. And they have a great time at karaoke. We see that Murashige actually starts to have fun. We see that people start to like Iwakura. We have that weird moment where they're like, with like their song choice. But then it turns out that like that song is a song from like some like children's show, and like everyone is like, whoa, everyone's like, whoa, I love that show as a kid. I used to sing that song all the time, or whatever. And they're all like, I want to pick a super nostalgic song too. It's like, she just has to be herself, right? I feel like that's such cliche advice, but I feel like more and more you're starting to realize that she just has to be herself. She doesn't have to, and I think that's going to be one of the main messages of the show, with the help of the friends, but mostly Shima, where it's like, hey man, why don't you just loosen up? Like you trying to have your whole life, literally from now until the day you die. You have every step of the way planned out. Like that can't be super healthy, and also like that's got to be super stressful too. And we've seen that already, right? Where she's losing sleep because she's trying to figure out the best way to do her self introduction the next day. It's like that is not that important. Like first impressions, can be important, but like you do not have to lose. You don't have to stay up for 9 hours trying to figure out, hey, what's the strategy here, Um, and then even further than that, with the whole Igashira and Murashige thing, like Murashige's like, hey, give me your ID. I want to, let's be friends. Hey, I don't even like karaoke. I just wanted to come just to be nice, but you actually made me have a good time. And it's like, oh yes, this is the, obviously this is the, it's like the main character effect, right? Where the main character just, everyone always gravitates towards the main character of a show, right? For the most part. But it's like, it's so good because it's like, ah, yes, this is the kind of validation that she needs, right? And not saying that she's selfish and like this is all she cares about with people is them liking her. But it's like, because of how she is, it's nice to see other people genuinely want to get to know her. Um, on the flip side, you have Igashura, and she sucks, man. Like, I feel like the show could go one of many different ways, where, one of two ways probably, right? Where it's like they're either going to redeem her at some point, or they're just going to get tossed aside. Honestly, I hope she gets tossed aside. Because like she even like runs up to Shima and is like, "Ah, do you watch movies and stuff? Oh man, do you do it with your girlfriend?" And it's just like, you are so transparent. Like you could not be like, do you think he doesn't know? Like, and if you think he does know, and you're trying to play in that angle of like, we both know what we're saying, but we're not gonna say it. It's so like desperate is probably the word I'd use. Desperate. Where it's like, you only came here, you only invited me, you like the way you were talking to me the whole night. I'm very observant. Maybe Shima saw the way that she was talking to Iwakura. I mean, even Murashige, someone who isn't as close to Iwakura, because again, you would think that people who are close to you, who care about you, your friends and family, will notice stuff about you more than strangers would, right? So, like in this case, the comparison I'm trying to make is Shima would probably notice stuff that's happening with Iwakura during that karaoke stuff more than you would think that Murashige would, because Murashige, not Iwakura's friend. Now they're gonna become friends, right? But even a stranger noticed what game Ikashura was trying to play. So it's like, I'm sure Shima probably noticed it as well. And then him even being like, hey, why don't you loosen up a little bit? And like, that was his very polite way of saying, step off. I don't, like, I see what you're doing. Not a fan. Not a fan, I'll be honest. And then it kind of destroys her, where she's like, why would you say that to me? But she doesn't say that to him. She kind of says it in her head. But it's just like it is perfectly okay to try to go after somebody, right? But for you to feign friendship with somebody to get close to that person, to literally use them. It's just like, and also like, I don't know. It's just so desperate, reek of desperation, right? And like no one likes that, like that's not cool. That's not attractive, right? So whatever. And then another character that we got, which I'm happy to see more of, Kinomoto. She just seems like super innocent and like super upbeat, and I love it. She got a very similar pin to Iwakura. Got the little like pin in her little pocket, right? So that's cool. Um, well, I'd love to see more of her too. And then we have this introduction of Kanachika, who is like one of the heads, I suppose, of like the acting club. So he's coming a little hot. He's a character, right? I'm sure we'll see more of him because he is someone where he comes in and you notice him. All focus is on him. But I mentioned there's a little bit of mystery, where Kanachika kind of points out Shima, says, "Hey, aren't you this?" I didn't write down the name, but aren't you this person? Your dad was in a show that I watched all the time as a kid, whatever. And Shima kind of pulls him aside and tells him that he doesn't want to talk about it, and gets like really, really, like really vinegary with him. It's like, hey, don't, like, I don't want to talk about it. You, as the head of the actor club, it's very sad that you can't just sense from me, from my words and my actions, that I don't want to talk about it. And kind of like shuts him down and is like kind of harsh. Maybe we went a little too harsh with the man, but I guess there's something about it. And so like that, I'm sure we'll learn more about, of like, why is he using like a fake name? What is his relationship with his father? Is he like, is it as bad as like he doesn't like his father, or maybe the other way around, or maybe he is embarrassed or estranged, something like that, or maybe it's just he doesn't want to live his life riding his famous father's coattails. Maybe he's like, I want to be my own person, right? That could also be it. Maybe it's not negative. Maybe it's just a positive thing where he's like, hey, I want to be my own person, right? But yeah, so that that was like a very serious moment where I was like, whoa. Normally a very laid back dude is like, you got him on edge, right? I'm sure that Iwakura is going to be the one that breaks him down in a good way and gets Shima to talk about it, but that's probably not for at least another few episodes, at the very least. But yeah, that was Skip and Loafer. Good stuff. Again, like the different characters that are building up, the different relationships that Iwakura has with all of them. It's getting somewhere. I'm excited for it. Next, we got Heavenly Delusion, episode 2. This was kind of nuts. We have the continuation of the beast, right? Like the monster, and the lady's like, "Oh, this is my son," and it's like, "Oh, maybe it is her son," and then her son just kills her, uses the little like whip thing to slice her in half. What like honestly, like, let's be honest for a second, right? Was anyone watching that scene not thinking the whole time that the monster's gonna kill this lady? Because like she was like, "Oh no, I love her. Like he protected me in the past. Like he's in there somewhere," and then Maru and Kiriko are like, "Well, I mean, if she's right, then there's no reason for us to kill it. So I guess, okay, whatever." And then she's like, "Oh yes, awesome! I've convinced them. Hey son, isn't that great? See, isn't everything awesome?" And then slice, and then just he eats her, consumes her, and it's like, yeah. The whole time I was like, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her. There's no way. Like, just the framing of the shot, I was like, oh, any second now, any second now is gonna be the end of her life, and it happens. But we do have a nice little fight scene that to come out of it, and some weird like powers too, which I'm assuming is a part of the reason why he's like special. He like injects his like energy into the beast and like squeezes its heart. It's like, whoa, okay, are you the only one that can do that? Are other people with these powers? Like, what's the situation here? So that was really cool. And apparently his goal, right? We learned that his goal is to get to heaven. He's gonna find someone with the same face as his, and he has to inject him with drugs. And then the human race will prosper because of it. A lot of questions. um, Man with the same face. Is it a clone? Is it a sibling? Is it a relative of any kind? Is it like a is it like your evil twin or something? Like what's going on there? What are the drugs that you're injecting this person with? How will it save humanity? Why you? Right? A lot of questions. So yeah, there's that, and then a couple things at the end have to do with Kiriko, where we see that Kiriko killed her brother in a race. Well, no, we don't see it yet. We're gonna see it next episode, because that's kind of where it cuts, I think. But yeah, so that's like a big thing to her past, is that she accidentally killed her brother while racing. And then we see that Kiriko is a man. I'm assuming more of like a trans thing, which is funny because we just talked about that with Skip and Loafer. But yeah, because because Maru like confessed to her, very very weirdly too. But Kiriko was like no, and then she was like, hey, something I should tell you as well. Like, my body is a woman, but up here, she points to her head, is a man. So I'm a man. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Sick. I'm okay with that. But yeah, so I mean that's also a big one for her too, to be like, hey, something, I feel like I should tell you this, you know. Doesn't really affect anything in my mind, where it's like they could still love each other if they did love each other. But I feel like that's nice for her to be that comfortable, and I guess that trusting with Maru to like tell him that, like share that information with him, because she didn't. He didn't have to, right? He didn't have to say anything. He could have just let Maru still think what he thought, right? So yeah. That was the episode, though. Next episode, I'm sure we'll see, like I said, a continuation of more of Kiriko's backstory. And just them, they're on the boat, so I'm sure we'll see them get off the boat, and they're kind of investigating the symbol that's on Kiriko's laser gun. So that's cool. Again, it doesn't really feel like they're getting closer to heaven, but they, at least they keep picking up on some breadcrumbs. So the day that there's true disappointment is when they reach a dead end and there's nothing else to go off of, and they're just like, I don't know what else to do. So next we got Demon Slayer, Swordsmith Village Arc, episode 1. So yeah, a lot of just this episode was mostly just set up of just like, hey, here's kind of, we're picking up from last season, and kind of here's what this season is going to lead into. So we have Lord Akaza, who's the upper 3. He summoned all the other upper ranks. Lord Muzan is very upset with them as to why they haven't succeeded yet. Like the first time, and I think he said like 100 years, one of the upper ranks has been killed. This is crazy. And so he's like, get to it, right? Everyone has a job to do. Get to it, right? He's not playing any games anymore. So that's cool. I mean, for 2 reasons. One, we see that what the work that the Demon Slayers are doing is actually paying off, where they are hitting the demons very hard. And then 2, it just means we're going to see more and more action, because they're like, all right, we're out here, let's kill them. So that's cool. And like I said, we're just kind of picking up. So we got Tanjiro waking up from a 2-month coma. Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tengen are all okay. or go in their respective lanes. Not together anymore though, which is sad. I'm sure they'll maybe meet up again this season. I mean, why wouldn't they? But I mean, Tengen maybe not, but Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tanjiro would make sense at some point for them to meet up. And yeah, so he's going to the Swordsmith village arc because he broke his sword. Mitsuri's there, has found Tanjiro. The important thing with her is that she told him that there supposedly is some like secret, super powerful weapon that's hidden here. Somewhere in the village or somewhere like around the village, like in the woods or whatever. And so I imagine that might be what Tanjiro's gonna look for here, because it's like, ooh, if there's some secret weapon, like, is it some like prophecy or something? Is it like, oh, the man who finds this is God or something? I don't know. So imagine that's definitely gonna come back into play. Because why would Mitsuri mention it if the story isn't gonna like play off of that, right? And then not only is Mitsuri a Hashira here, but also another Hashira, Muichiro, is here as well. And he kind of sees them lurking. And they also see that one dude who was in Tanjiro's dream, who had like very similar earrings to him. So we're playing with a lot of stuff here, guys. We're setting up a lot. We have 2 Hashira here. So that's, something's going down, right? We have the dude from the dream. We don't know who that is. It kind of, he kind of makes some resemblance to Tanjiro. So maybe there's something there. I imagine that would be intentional. And then we have this hidden weapon. We have the upper ranks who are in full pursuit. So it's like a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff for setting up. I don't know how many episodes this is. I feel like generally Demon Slayer is 2 cores. So I don't know if this one's 2 cores as well, but they're setting up a lot. So I'm definitely excited to watch more of this, because I want to see the Hashira in action. I want to see who this dude is. I want to see them go for this crazy hidden weapon. Imagine it's just like a sword. It's probably like a gun. Could you imagine if it was just like if it was just like just like an AK-47 that they find? It's just like, whoa, what is happening here? But yeah, so next, Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury Season 2, Episode 1. Again, yeah, not too much of this episode. I feel like it's just kind of like cleaning up last season, and kind of setting up this season. So we have just kind of a few things here. Earth House is shaken up from the real combat, right? Especially a few members are really shaken up, and they're just like, because that was never supposed to be that. They were never supposed to actually go into real combat, risk their lives. Like that was crazy, and that is something that a lot of shows kind of play into, is like kids going into real combat, seeing some real stuff, and then how that affects them. So, I wonder if that'll be, they have to have like super long, like lingering effects. We have the council or whatever. They are going to investigate the Earthian Gundams. It's like, wait, hold on, hold on now. We have Suletta here as a Gundam. We kind of have that under control for the most part, but now we have these Earthian criminals who came in, and they have 2 Gundams. What's going on? Or maybe multiple. I think maybe I don't know. But what's happening here? We need to shut this down. We need to look into it. We need to figure out what is happening. So that's that's like a little plot point that I'm sure we're gonna continue on with. And apparently now those Earthians are here, undercover as students. That's how do we let this happen? Oh, I feel like, I don't know, like, part of me is going to come off as racist, but part of me is like, hey, we just had Earth people try to kill us. Why don't we kind of cool it with letting the Earth people come here just for just a short period of time, Because now at the very end, we have the Earth people who are showing their colors, and they're about to kill Suletta and Nakai. And it's like, what are we doing? Those are the people. And now it's like, and now Suletta's like, hey, play by the school's rules. Why don't we duel? And it's like, they're not here to duel, they're here to kill. Nakai knows too much because she is the middleman in all of this. And you, they want to kill. The one girl doesn't want to kill you because she wants to like play with you or whatever, which is creepy. But it's like this is not this is they're here for murder. They very much wanted murder on that fateful day. And you're just gonna accept a duel? What happens if you win? Are they gonna be like, all right, guys, we lost? We lost, guys. We lost the duel. We can't kill him. I don't know. Also, why would they care? Why would they abide by the rules of the duel? They clearly don't care about the school. They just came here to infiltrate. You know, look, I don't know. It's crazy. That is pretty much the episode, though. Again, not too much. Next episode's gonna pop off because we're gonna have the duel, right? But it's like absolutely insane. Of like they're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna duel him now. What? So I don't know. Next we got Insomniacs After School, episode 1. This another one. This is my like sleeper pick, where it's like sleeper. There we go. This is my like underdog pick, where I feel like not too many people have eyes on this show, but I feel like it is gonna end up being like a super solid show. I just love it. I just love the little relationship that Nakami and Maguri are kind of developing. They're both insomniacs. They both can't sleep at night, but they're super sleepy during the day. I love they meet in the observatory. And they kind of I don't know. They just bond over their insomnia. And then I love the very end where they're kind of building up to this and building and I just had it. Maguri is there, and Maguri's like, hey, you want to go to the spot? And Nakami's like, I don't know. I don't know if we should really do it. He's kind of non-committal. And then Maguri's like, hey, I need you because I am exhausted. And like that right there is funny because it's like, whatever. But like, it's also like, hey, I need you. Like, I need you to sleep, basically. Like, again, it's just the little relationship they're forming where it's like they're comfortable with each other. They have this bond that no one else has with them. They understand each other. It's like, hey, I want, let's go do it. Let's go up there and sleep, Like, it's so weird. It's just a weird thing to bond over, but, like, I could imagine, like with other, I don't know, like, I don't know what insomnia is. It's like a disorder or like a deficiency of some sort. I don't know. But whatever, like if for any other type of disorder, deficiency, whatever, like I'm sure you would bond with someone who has the same one as you, so it does make sense. It's just like a funny thing to be like, hey, let's go up there and sleep. Let's go up there and have a nap, But then I also love when they take it further and they both have insomnia, so they're like, well, we're both up at night. Why don't we hang out? And they just like hit the town at night. And like a cop almost finds them, which I don't think they're doing anything. Again, I don't really know. Like, does Japan have like a curfew? Like, is that like a thing? I don't think it is. But like, I don't think they'd be doing anything illegal. But they are like kids, so I'm sure if the cops saw them, they'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing out here? Do your parents know you're out here?" I'm sure again, doing a thing that a cop should do when you see children out at night in the dead of night. You'd be worried and be like, hey, you guys should go home. Where are your parents? I'm here, come with me. I'm gonna bring you guys home, as a cop should, trying to look out for their safety. But then again, I'm just kind of hitting the town, and then them on like the pier, and the sun coming up, and they're like, oh, now we're tired. and then like taking pictures. We have the moment where Nakami, where they're hiding, and Nakami's like listening to his heartbeat, and like her face is all flushed, and it's like, man, this is such a sweet little relationship they have. Again, right now it's too early for it to be like, oh, they're definitely gonna be together romantically. I mean, they are. I definitely think they are, but but right now I think it is just super innocent of like, we're hanging out, we're having fun, we understand each other like no one else understands us. A lot of other people kind of like cut us off because they think that we're like off standish, which they kind of are, but it's not really their fault. Like, it's just where you don't get any sleep, so we're exhausted. When you're exhausted, you get irritable. That's just how it is. So, and then I love the ending where they're like, "See you today," not see you tomorrow. See you today, because it's morning, and probably in a couple hours they're gonna go to school and see each other. So it's like, oh, I just love that. Just like a little attention to detail with that phrase, with that greeting, whatever, is nice. And then also, just kind of lastly, I do want to give a shout out to um, Nakami's friend Kigawa, Kagawa, I guess, who like holds it down, comes in and saves them because they get locked in the observatory, and it doesn't really ask any questions. Isn't doesn't like intrude on Maguri and everything like that. So that was cool. That was nice. But yeah, like I said, I'm super hopeful for the show. This is one that I really really want to be good. Because I think just seeing their relationship grow, and again, I don't know if we'll see other characters kind of blossom and kind of grow closer to them as well, or maybe it'll just kind of be mainly them two. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm also interested to see like how they're able to keep this up, because like a part of me is like, is the show just gonna kind of repeat itself? Like, is it just gonna be like, well, we're just gonna every episode just gonna be them sleeping in the observatory and then maybe telling each other things about their life, which could be nice, but like there has to be something more to make it like a full show, and not just like we sleep and then we talk and that's the show, you know. So I'm still very excited for it, but I have very high hopes for this show. And then lastly, the show that is, I guess, taking the anime season by storm, and not surprising at all to anybody that reads the manga, which I do. I don't think I'm current on it, but I've definitely read enough that I'm gonna know everything that happens this season. Um, Oshi no Ko, Oshi no Ko episode 1, also known as My Star. This is one of the few shows though that I'm just gonna call it by the Japanese name, because no one calls it My Star. Like with Demon Slayer, it does have the like Kimetsu no Yaiba or whatever. But people, for the most part, like at least here in America, call it Demon Slayer, so we call it Demon Slayer. But with this show, no one calls this show My Star. No one says, "Oh, did you see episode 1 of My Star?" Like, what? What is that? What are you talking about? Oshi no Ko. I forgot that this was an hour and a half special. I was like, whoa, I forgot about that. But very good, very necessary too, because I mean, that's why people love it, because of how much story it was able to tell in just one episode. Um, so let's talk about it, man. Like, I'm obviously, I want to get into some like certain points throughout the episode, but I mean, the big thing is the ending, right? The big thing is the ending, right? I mean, I don't really think I'm going to talk about the episode too much, because a lot of it just kind of like moot at this point. I mainly just want to talk about the ending, which is I getting destroyed in her own home. And like, let's see. So let's where is it? Where does that start? Right there. Okay. So yeah. So she gets stabbed in her own home, and she gets stabbed by a fan, seemingly, right? Um, for having the kids, right? Because it kind of came out, or it didn't come out, but like he somehow figured out, right? He, like, because we're coming back and we're thinking that he was the same dude that pushed Aqua when he was a doctor in his previous life off the cliff and killed him, right? So we're like, oh, he somehow figured it out, right? And so he's like, oh, I killed you. You know, you betrayed us. You were probably laughing at us and making fun of us, whatever. Because that is really like kind of the like uh, like we, you know, with like the internet and everything like that. You know, we talk about parasocial relationships, right? And how they're unhealthy. You know, like these people, the people who see online, whether it be like celebrities or you know, like YouTubers or people on social media or whatever, like they don't know you. You know, like you may think that you know a lot about their life, and you probably do, but they don't know anything about you. They don't know that you exist. You know, so like you thinking that you have some sort of relationship with this person, you don't. You know, like even a musician that like puts a lot of their life into their music, right? A lot of their childhood, their family stuff, their, you know, romantic stuff, their hopes and dreams, all that stuff in their music. It's like you know a lot about their life, right? Because you've listened to their music. But you don't know them really. You know, like you don't know them actually, like they're like you never had a conversation with them as, you know, human to human, right? And they definitely don't know that you even exist, right? They don't know anything about you. They don't know your name, you know, whatever, right? So parasocial relationships, we talk about that a lot. You know, I feel like it's being talked about a lot more and more over the past, you know, few years, decade, whatever. But with like in Japan, from my understanding, that's taken like up 10 notches when it comes to idols, you know. You know, idols are like these, you know, these like otherworldly creatures that like people don't even see as human. You know, it's like very, very unhealthy. You know, so that kind of makes sense in a very twisted way as to why he would feel this way because of the kids and because like, oh, you know, because that's the whole thing where it's like idols can't have relationships, right? Definitely can't have kids. Are you kidding me? Um, but I love this scene because for one, it's shocking. Like if you didn't watch this, you would have never known. Well, okay, that was really stupid. If you didn't read the manga, you would have never seen that coming. I don't think anyone out there that's watched this, if you didn't read the manga, did you have any inkling that I was going to die, was going to get murdered in this moment? I guarantee you didn't. There's no way. There's no way. Um, but then like I love this because it's building up of things that she's mentioned here and there, like sprinkled in throughout this episode of um, how she lies. You know, she has this line where she says, "To me, lies are love," because you know we have a flashback to her, um, her getting recruited, and she's like, you know, I grew up in a home, I didn't have any parents, um, you know, I what did she say? I wrote it down. I have no memories of loving someone or being loved. Like she just never learned what that means ever. And so she was like, how am I supposed to be an idol? Idols tell their fans that they love them all the time, but I don't love them. Not because I don't want to, because I just don't. Um, and so, you know, he talks about, oh, well, lying is good. Like, you know, you know, fans sometimes want you to lie because, you know, they just want to hear you say the thing that they want to hear you say. You know, but that has kind of grown with her the whole time. And like, even earlier on, you know, we see, you know, people on social media kind of dogging her about like, her smile is so fake. It's so like professional. You know, it's not real. And like within her mind, she's like, but that's what it's supposed to be. Like I am a professional. Like this is my job. Like it's my job to smile a certain way, to say certain things to you, to act a certain way, to my image has to, you know, has to be created in a certain way. And this is what you want. So like why is it a problem? Like we both know what this is. You know, and then the moment when Aqua and Ruby are kind of, you know, forgot where they were and they start doing their crazy dance and it gets everyone's attention, it gets Ai's attention, and she smiles genuinely. You know, she's not putting on her eye idol smile. She has a genuine smile, and everyone on social media is like, that's it right there. That's the smile I was looking for, you know. And so like again, you know, we're kind of playing with that, you know, with that idea of being fake and lying to people, but that's all she knows, right? And so we cut back to the moment, and she's dying, and she says a lot of stuff, but um, she even tells the dude like she remembers him because even he's like, you probably don't even remember me, you don't even know who I am, and she's like, oh no, I know who you are, and like she says his name, and she says, oh yeah, you were the guy who gave me the, like stardust gift. I love it. I loved it. And that breaks him because he's like, what? No, because in his mind, he had this plan. He was like, she hates the fans. She hates me. She betrayed us. She doesn't even know who I am. I'm going to kill her. And all that was false, you know? And we see later on that he apparently attempted suicide, failed, and then died in the hospital. So he's gone. Um, but even that, like, as she's dying, like, it killed me because as she was dying, she finally said, Ruby, Aqua, I love you. And then she starts crying because she's like, I was finally able to say it. That was the first time she ever told her kids that she loved them, because she was so afraid of saying I love you to anybody and it being a lie. She wouldn't want to do that. I mean, she said it to her fans and whatever, but like, she doesn't say it. She would be terrified of saying those words and realizing that she doesn't mean them. That would have ruined her. So the fact that she was able to say them and she really meant them in that moment, not saying that she could die happy, but that was very fulfilling for her. To kind of say that and that kind of be like her last words, and her mean them with every ounce of her heart. And so it ends. So what else do we have in the ending? Saito's wife wants to be their mother, and I love how much her character has changed, because in the beginning she was kind of crazy, and we did have that weird, like, Ruby and Aqua pretended to be gods. But then she's kind of come around and she's like, hey, I want to be your mother. You don't have to think of me as your mother. You don't have to call me your mother, or anything like that. I'm not trying to replace I or anything, but I do see you as my children, and I do want to take care of you. And that's just another moment that just kind of hits you, because again, I love her approach where she's like, hey, you don't have to call me mom or whatever. You don't have to forget about I, but like, I would love to legally be your mom and like take care of you and raise you and everything. So it's like, oh, it's great. And then we have the very end where this kind of sets up what the show is, I suppose, where Aqua starts putting stuff together, and he realizes that, or he comes to a educated guess that the person that killed the mom, or I guess is responsible. Okay, I'm just gonna say it and then I'm gonna talk about it. So, is their dad, because I didn't have any relationship with pretty much anyone else. She did mention talking to the dad. We did see earlier on where she called the dad and apparently gave the dad their new address. It's all kind of lining up, you know. The dad must be in the industry. Gotta be, right? He's gotta be an actor or director of some sort, or something like that. So he has this plan where he is going to get into the industry, get high up in the industry, get connections, and basically try to find the dad and confront him and kill him, I guess. And then the very end, we have a time jump where I think they're in high school now, and so they're moving up the ladder, right? So that's kind of where the show is probably going to take place, right? Is them just in high school doing their thing, right? But let's kind of talk about it, right? And then also just one other thing I want to mention first is I do like the whole we find out that Ruby is Serena. They don't know that they're each other yet. I don't actually remember if they ever tell each other. Do they? I don't want to spoil anything, but again, I genuinely don't remember if like they eventually say, "Whoa, I'm Serena and I'm Garu." That's his name, right? Goru. Whoa, that's crazy. Or if they just never mention it ever to each other. I don't remember. Anyway, but yeah, that's just kind of what I want to mention there. But I thought that was cool. But I don't remember though, because now, now my memory is failing me, because I'm like, did so did the guy who killed I not die? I thought he died at the end. I thought what they said was that he attempted suicide, failed, and now he's recovering in the hospital. Oh no, sorry, failed, went to the hospital, and then died in the hospital. So is that not true? Did he did he survive? Because then it's like either Aqua is looking for that man, believing the man to be their father, or he believes that the father, I don't know, maybe like hired that man to kill I. Either way, he believes that the father is out there and the father's responsible. I think it makes sense that that guy didn't die, because what they're trying to connect is that, well, he was the same dude who approached Goru when he was a doctor, and somehow tracked them down, somehow knew that they were pregnant, right? That I was pregnant. Um, and then obviously with the connection of, we see that I was talking to the dad on the phone and gave the dad the address. So it's like, well, this plus this plus this plus this could equal this conclusion, right? So, but yeah, it's a crazy show, man. It's a crazy show. It's that thing too. I remember reading it too and being like, she dies? They just murder her? What? Okay. I remember going off when when I read that, but and so this is the show now where they're gonna he's gonna try to get up in the industry. Ruby hasn't really talked about what she's gonna do, like how she's gonna live her life. She did kind of mention when they were younger, before the time skip, that she might want to become an idol. So I could very well see her doing that. I'm excited to see them in school though, like them get like friends and stuff like that. Do they know? Are they like outed as I's kids? Like, do we know that? Like, or does the public know that they're I's kids? I think they do, right? Pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure the public knows, right? I think that came out. Didn't that come out when like she died, and like the report that I has been murdered? Didn't that come to light? I don't remember. Oh no, because maybe not, because didn't Aqua say something about how like Saito and Saito's wife, they like moved them to their like, they like adopted them like officially, like before the reports came out, so they weren't able to like, no one was able to connect the dots there. I don't know. No, see, but then because no, see, I don't think that's true though, because there was like stuff online and social media and stuff about like, oh no, never mind. What I was gonna say was, there's stuff on social media about like talking about people talking about how I had kids, but no, they weren't talking about that. They were talking about how the dude must have been like the husband or something, and they were upset. They were like, oh well, serves her right. She shouldn't have got a boyfriend. She's an idol or whatever. And Ruby was just like, what? Like reading all that, she's like, what? Like, you love her, so like you find love in her, so she's not allowed to find her own love. Crazy. But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited to see it, man. This crazy mystery of like trying to find the dad, but also them just living their own lives too. Also, I don't know how Ruby fits into that. Is Ruby also trying to? Probably not. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And that is it. That is it. Not another Isekai this week. Yeah, great week. Like I said, there are, maybe like one show, MASHLE, might not continue next week, but for the most part, great season. Great season of anime this time. Yeah. Can't wait to see it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Let me know what shows you are kind of on, on your top of the list, right? Is it some of the sequels, some of the newer stuff? What are you most excited for? And yeah, that is pretty much it. Until next time, watch more anime.